nke ezi omume gị ka iwe wezugara anyị nrịanja niile ọrịa niile nke pụrụ ịdakwasị mmadụ dị ndụ n'ihi na ọ bụ naanị gị bụ onye na-agwọ ọrịa ka anyị wee na-akpọkụ gị onwe gị bụ Chineke nke ndị agha ka iwe mere anyị ebere ka akwa nke anyị na-ebe ka ude nke anyị na-asụ wee bịa n'iru gị ka iwe mee ka Biafra wee guzosi ike ka anyị wee n'ikpete maazị nye ha sọgụtụta na nsọpụrụ na ịja mma site n'ebighị ebi ma ruo n'ebighị ebi ise mma mma dịrị gị Chineke mma mma dịrị gị Chineke mma mma dịrị gị Chineke.
Welcome, my amazing viewers. Thank you so much for joining me on my program once again. I appreciate you wherever you're connecting from. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please kindly subscribe to my channel. Click the notification bell so that you'll be notified each time I upload a video. You will be among the first to receive it. Thank you so much and remain blessed. Remember, each time you watch my video, don't forget to go to the comment section and put down your comment. Express yourself, say it the way you want it. You can criticize if you so desire, but do it constructively so that we can learn from one another. Thank you so much and remember this. In this channel, we talk about the freedom of the people. Freedom of the people, mainly the people from the southeastern region, people from the old southeastern region, the Biafra land, people from the southwestern region, the people from the middle belt, and every indigenous tribe in that country called Nigeria. We speak up for them. We are asking that they should allow us to take our referendum for us to decide our fate. Let us decide where we want to belong by ourselves. No one or two people will come together to decide for us. We say no to that. That is why we are asking for a referendum. We are speaking up, following the message of our schooling Amazing Nandekano, who is superheading this very struggle. He gave us a prayer to pray. If you are not praying, please don't forget to pray. Pray along with him the 150 days prayer he has given us. We are moving ahead. If you have not joined, it is not yet late. As you pray, you will get more revelation and you will know what to do at all times. You will not be distracted. That is why we have to pray. Have to continue to pray. As you all know, a lot is happening in the country called Nigeria, and their stronghold is shaking. They will never overcome us. It doesn't matter what they do. It doesn't matter the trick they use. It doesn't matter the trick they use. Our supreme leader, Mazen Nandekan, have done the major assignment. They have done the major assignment by keeping everybody awake. We are all awake and watching, and they will never succeed in all their plans. You can see the plan they are putting down on different kind of places. When we are talking about Islamization of Nigeria, people think it is a joke, but today it is playing out. The Fulanization of Nigeria is now in the open. They are not hiding it anymore. They are not hiding it. You can see after the governors have come together to talk about the open grazing, that they do not want open grazing. They don't want open grazing at any time. They don't want it. The southern governors came together to say that they don't want that. They're going to write a law to ban open grazing. What happened? The government turned around. Their presidency, the imposter who is claiming to be the late Buhari, is there, still playing the same script that Buhari would have played if he's still alive, telling us that they want open grazing. He is still talking about grazing route. Not just talking about grazing route, he has formed a committee to go and make sure that they reinforce the grazing route so that it becomes functional. What does that mean? When they tell you that they want to reinforce the grazing route, what they mean is that the Fulani should continue to rotate in all states of the country. That's what it means. They are still trying to legalize the movement of cattle from every state from state to state, destroying the farms. That is what the government is legalizing now. They have formed a committee already and sent them forth to states to go and make sure that they reinforce open grazing. Even this so-called grazing route they are talking about is never in the southern part of Nigeria. It has never been in the southern part of Nigeria. It's only in the northern part of Nigeria. Even some northern governors have said they are not a part of it, but yet the government is insisting on open grazing. When the whole world have talked about ranching, now ranching is the best way to go for anybody who wants to go into the business of cow rearing. If you want to go into business of cow rearing, go and do ranching. That is what everybody is saying. That is the modern way of doing the business, not carrying cattle from one place to another. What do you think will be the aim of somebody who is still pursuing the agenda of carrying cow from one place to the other? What do you think is his aim? What do you think is the aim of the person who is permitting the movement of cow from one place to the other? What do you think is his aim? Because he's not trying to make he's not trying to make an increase in the growth of the cow, because there is no increase. Moving cow all the way from the north, from the south, it will not make the cow to multiply. It will not make the cloud to multiply. He is not at the same time making it easy for the header. A genuine header who want to be a header, you are not making it easy for him, asking him to trek all the way from the north to the south. But when you see somebody pursuing that agenda of open grazing, the only single reason why somebody will support that is because they want to grab land by all means possible. They want to grab the indigenous people's land and give to the Fulanis. The Fulanatian agenda. That is why the presidency is openly talking about the grazing route. Even when the whole country said they don't want it, he insisted that there must be the grazing route. And some people in the southeastern part of Nigeria, southern part of Nigeria are still sleeping. Some people in the southern part of Nigeria are still going about their business as if nothing is happening. Meanwhile, the country is doomed. May God have mercy on you all. As many as are sleeping, thinking that it's business as usual. It is not business as usual. Mazin Nandekano has been warning and telling you that they will come. They have now come. Even many people who thought that Mazin Nandekano was a noisemaker, some people who thought that Mazin Nandekano wasn't intelligent enough, it is now happening in their own doorstep. It has come to their own doorstep and they cannot hold it anymore. Most of them are talking. Most of them are talking. I am going to play a video for you. A video of the interview that was granted to Wale Soyinka recently. You will hear what Wale Soyinka has to say about the imposter. Even though Wale Soyinka contributed to becoming of that imposter in one way or the other. But now it has gotten to the neck of everybody. You will see the case Wale Soyinka is making against this very Janjaweed and their open grazing. Let us watch the video before we come back and complete the informations.
Good afternoon, and I'm sorry about the short notice, but there really wasn't much time, and something urgent came up, and I thought the earlier we dealt with it, the better. So we all know where we're heading. It has to do with decree number 4. Under any other name, it's still decree number 4. And I believe that this parallelism was pointed out at the time when the so-called regulation was passed. Various media, I remember The Guardian was one of them, which said there's just decree number 4 by other means. But now we've been watching the play of this, the interventions, using a spearhead this decree. And so I think nobody's left in any doubt that both the spirit and the letter of this Broadcasting Commission decree have indicated clearly where the freedom of expression is being taken. And it should be stopped as quickly as possible. I think all of you have, I don't know if you've seen this letter, which was sent by the National Broadcasting Commission to Channel TV. It just happens to be channels, it could be anyone, it's been others as well. But this for me is the first time I've actually seen an example of the kind of query that the media is getting. Yeah, just take one or two examples. Here's it's titled Notice of Infraction. And section, the broadcaster shall ensure that its presenter shall handle with professionalism and sound judgment to ensure, etc., etc. Professionalism, sound judgment, who decides that? Is a National Broadcasting Commission mass communication forum? You know, is it judging people's papers? Is it setting examination? Says you haven't shown sound judgment. I mean, who's the impartial arbiter? Who's the expert who decides things like that? And so on and so forth. I mean, this is one of the most astounding, semi-literate kind of official query letter I've ever seen. And I wish to exhort the media, whenever they get letters like this. I know you have problems, you have your commission, you have your board of trustees, they tell you what to do and so on, but wherever possible, if only symbolically please just throw it into the garbage pan, whatever you are, which I put. Could you bring something there? This kind of query, this is where it belongs. No, just stick it out of there. Just get rid of it. In addition, however, I think we shouldn't stop at symbolic gestures. I think we have a responsibility to tell the government that if any media institution is sanctioned on this kind of trivial, absolutely ludicrous grounds, that we will fulfill our responsibility by mobilizing the nation to boycott all government media, whether television or radio, and we shall embark on that campaign. I invite you, all of you, to stand by to get ready. If it becomes necessary, then we shall wage this media war against the government. Decree number 4 has no place in a democracy. And it's about time we emphasize that, we manifested that both in language and in act. Well, as you see, that didn't take 5 minutes, and I thought since I was bringing you out, although ostensibly for that, there are some other issues which I thought we might want to discuss among ourselves. Yeah? Or we can stop and go home if you like, whichever. Shall we continue? All right. So let's take a few of the items which I'm sure has been agitating our minds, all our collective minds, for some time. The first is the issue of the government role in one of the agitators, towards one of the agitators, who is now both against Fulani tyranny, Fulani herdsmen, criminal conduct, and only, by the way, also agitating for sectional national sovereignty. I'm talking about Igboho, who threw out a criminal Fulani herdsman who'd been terrorizing his neighborhood, because that's his real crime. I refuse to accept that Igboho is being chased because he peacefully demonstrated his position vis-a-vis the destiny of this nation, which is a fundamental human right of anybody. So somebody calls for secession, calls for a separate state. I don't consider that, and nowhere is that to be declared a criminal act. That's one's vision of one's own society, full stop. As long as it's done peacefully, collectively, within the law, you do not now criminalize that action, and in addition, commit criminal acts against such an individual, which is what the government, the security services did by raiding Igboho's home in the middle of the night, 2 a.m., killing 2 of his own people, then claiming, without a warrant or anything, then claiming they found weapons in his home. Now, who's going to believe that cock and bull story? And this is an appeal actually to the Republic of Benin, to the government of the Republic of Benin. Why are you keeping this victim in your prisons? I mean, what's going on? What crime did he commit against your state that you are holding him in prison instead of just letting him continue his journey? Igboho has not committed any crime against any known law in this nation. And so to ask for his repatriation is just adding insult to injury. You invaded the man's house, destroyed his property, chased him into the wilderness, and then you pursue him next door. So we're asking the government of the Republic of Benin to release this young man and let him go about his business, which was interrupted unjustly. Unjustly. Please rectify this error. Don't compound it any further by holding Sunday Igboho in prison one day longer. Now, I brought out a novel recently, which all of you are aware of, Chronicles from the Land of the Happiest People in the World, which of course was intended to be an ironic title, because whoever conducted that Gallup poll or whatever it was and decided that Nigeria was among the top 5 happiest people in the world, which is where the inspiration for the title of that work came. I think that person really should just go back to School of Statistics, wherever he or she came from. But you know, I've been wondering if that title shouldn't be taken literally. I've been wondering ever since. A wedding took place recently here. I thought the nation was in mourning, you see. In mourning because of the killings, daily killings, which now have become a feature of existence, destruction of farms, but most importantly, the kidnapping of our children, whom we send to school. School pupils. That's become the new normal of this society. And I wonder whether, as a people who consider ourselves responsible human beings, we really are going to sit down and look on while this becomes the norm. I'm coming back to that theme in a moment, vis-a-vis the children, those whom we're supposed to protect. Right now, I want to talk about happiness. So there it is. You had this unbelievable carnival of a wedding in Kano, that part of the area. It was Kano, wasn't it? Yes, it was Kano. Doesn't matter where it is. The president's daughter was getting married. Was it his son or his marriage or what? Son. Oh, son. No, yeah, son. All I know is that the president was performing a wedding ceremony. Not in Asorock, he didn't go there. But I think the journalists, you know how many private jets were there. All I saw, didn't matter the details, was that a carnival was going on in the name of the president of this nation, whose child was getting married, while other youths, other people were being kidnapped. Now, don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying presidents' children shouldn't get married. On the contrary. In fact, I not only want them to get married, I want them blessed with children, prosperity, etc., etc. I also want, however, I would like to see that they are not burdened with a kind of surrogate, vicarious sense of irresponsibility. They deserve to start life without any burden of social guilt. So, in some way, I'm also on the president's side. But you see, I had made the mistake of thinking that it would have been sufficient to give these children money and say, please go and go to Dubai, have a good time, have your honeymoon there, splurge as much as you want. Right now, as a leader of this nation, with a heavy burden of unacquitted responsibility, which involves the future of a younger generation, I should set an example of some kind of modesty, sensibility, etc., etc. In short, we should not have seen the kind of carnival that took place here and in that part of the nation, especially at this particular time. This is not what I understand as leadership. And perhaps it is the sound, is the noise of the wedding bells, the noise that has contributed to the deafening, to the, shall we say, the impairment, the possible impairment of the hearing of the president of this nation. Because he doesn't seem to hear, doesn't seem to hear things. Virtually the whole nation is screaming, we do not want any open cattle grazing. Whether they go by the name of cattle routes or reserves, grazing reserves, right round the entire nation, we've had opinions surmounting the antiquated modes of cattle rearing. Even the all-powerful, untouchable Mieti Allah, patrons of the murderers, Fulani herdsmen, even they have gone on record saying that grazing, ranching is it. Ranching is what we want. And when we think all that argument, all that discussion, all that debate has been settled in rational terms, along comes a new version, rather like Decree 4. Along comes a new version of Ruga, with the president insisting on sending his agents out to go and map out the old grazing routes and recover the old grazing reserves, when governors and peoples and experts, agronomists, business people are saying, this is a business and it should be conducted in this particular way. So what is this president obsessing? Why is he obsessing about something which is being rejected right, left, and center? The obsession is on such a level that even people who consider themselves rational, like myself, begin to wonder whether this is really all about cattle, whether perhaps there is some other kind of agenda that we don't know about. Because as we say in Yoruba, it's like there's something, a kind of delusion, a kind of mental delusion about this thing. What is it? The governors have not said they don't want cattle here in their domain. All they're saying is, it's a business. If you want to rear cattle, whether you're a Fulani or you are an Igbo or you are Yoruba, just contact us and we'll deal with it as business. We'll allocate you land to ranch where the cattle are controlled and the farmers are happy and the herdsmen are happy. But you cannot let loose cattle any longer in our territory. This is what the governors are saying, and they're speaking our language. They're speaking the language, they're articulating the opinion, the desire of the people who elected them to look after their interests. And yet, again and again, this president comes out and says he's sending people out. Is this to stir up trouble or what? So when the president agents come to, let us say, Edo State, and the Edo State government says, who are you? What do you represent? What are you doing here? Please get out. And there's a clash. So now there's a clash. We can then escalate the ripple effect in all kinds of directions. Is that how a president is supposed to behave? To actually act in a way which offers violence as a consequence of your form of action? Is that really governance? Is that leadership? Listen, let me read you something which came to me, just to show you how, no, it's okay. I'll summarize it. I can send it to you, to your boxes later on if you like. Anyway, so I got this, this message saying, sir, what do you think about this? They say President Buhari has offered to take 1 million Afghan refugees. I immediately sent, before I'm charged with spreading fake news, I immediately sent a note back, I don't believe it. I said, listen, this is fake news. I merely cite it to demonstrate, to illustrate what happens when people sit down and see a cause of irrational action being promoted, being propagated again and again, they begin to wonder what is behind this. I mean, the Afghan thing is out of the, please, everybody just forget. In any case, the Ruga doctrine didn't start just when Afghanistan fell. So it was an absurd, totally absurd piece of propaganda. But this is what happens. Conspiracy theory abounds when leadership is seen to be pursuing a cause not in the interest of the people, against their declared wishes, their stands, and taking action which can possibly lead to conflagration within the country. Just when we're saying there's too much violence, the president says, I'm sending my agents to go and recover property which doesn't belong to me. Very weird, very weird. So let's move on from this obsession, which I insist is a no-go area, just as the governors have stated. I'll move on to the issue of violence. But violence of a very special kind. Some people call it insecurity, violence, whatever it is anyway. We're living in a permanent state of violence. But there's a difference with this particular kind of violence, and it's a difference which makes the failure of governance in this nation a responsibility of the international community. All right, so up till now we've been saying, ask for help. This thing is beyond you. The failures started a long time ago, so nobody is saying it's you who started it. But of course, your incompetence, your failure has also escalated it, like every other leader we've had. We're saying, ask for international help. We're now saying, however, that it's been proved beyond your capacity, your capability. But in addition, it's an issue which can legally be taken as an international responsibility. And this is why I wish to commend the association, or the Human Rights Association, which brought out this book. Because it states, it deals not merely, in great detail with the victims of violence, where, when, including names, family, etc., tabulate villages, the hectares which are being lost, the arbitrary disposal of humanity. But it goes further and says and proves that this, what is happening now, really is not a question of begging. It has become an international responsibility. In other words, that the international community is really obliged to take action since there is failure on the part of the governance to fulfill its obligations under United Nations Charter, to which it's a signatory. In this case, the issue of genocide. In other words, what this book says, and I agree with it, is that we have been living here side by side with actions which are unambiguously genocide. Let me read one or two of the protocols here which qualify for some of these events to be called genocide. Here we are. Among the conditions, the actions, the activities which qualify for genocide, to be called genocide. 1, causing serious bodily or mental harm to members of the group. All right? C, deliberately inflicting on the group conditions of life calculated to bring about its physical destruction in whole or in part. But finally, of the several there, the part which concerns me most, forcibly transferring children of the group to another group. I wish to repeat that. Forcibly transferring children of the group to another group. So, where are the Chibok girls? Where are the school pupils of the Ahmadiyya school? Where are the school pupils of the Bethel school? I think that's the Bethel, where some of them were released recently. So what's happening? How do we describe the targeting of children who are now being taken and transferred? They are a group, a recognized group. There are charters for the protection of children, UN charters, responsibilities which we all have towards children as a group. I was in the United Nations just a year ago to join in the anniversary of the signing of the protocols of the rights of children under the United Nations. And so from time to time, yes, we mark these anniversaries, but what do we do when these conditions, these articles are violated repeatedly, and all we do is celebrate weddings? It means that that nation has failed to live up to its responsibilities under United Nations laws. And I really commend this organization for bringing this fact to attention. It's something we've been working on, in fact, in different ways, talking directly to governments, pleading with them to bring the issue of child kidnapping and forced repatriation to the attention of the United Nations in the next General Assembly. But the protocols are there for any nation to champion the cause of these children and thereby enforce on this government international intervention in whatever form. The protocols are there. In addition, however, I wish to appeal to the compilers to also include, maybe as an addendum, the issue of slavery, of enslavement. Now, numerous, not just the bilateral, unilateral, but universal protocols against the slave trade and slavery itself. Abolitions here, abolitions there, gunboats to enforce the end of slavery, civil war in the United States to enforce the abolition of slavery, to abolish the very notion of slavery. In this country, however, the slave trade, a very brisk and clearly successful slave trade, is going on, with the markets all over the place, springing up all over the place. But in particular, the targets, the favored slaves, are children, school pupils. They are the new slaves. When those kids are taken, their parents, and sometimes the state, pays a ransom for them. Oh, well, what's the difference? It's even easier and more lucrative than taking slaves across the Atlantic or taking them through the Sahara, where several of them may die on the way or succumb to raiders, rival slavers. No, right now, just take them, simple, a few kilometers into Sambisa forest or whichever other forest, sometimes even into villages where this trade is supported by some of the locals themselves. And so they say, come and buy your children back. We have them. And then when the price is not paid immediately, they even go on air and send notes to say, well, you didn't come and buy in time, so now the price has gone up. Very soon, Nigeria will be quoting slaves on the stock market. That's the next step. I don't see any difference between slavery and what is happening to school pupils today. And so, we're calling on the United Nations to intervene and stop the slave trade, to live up to its noble intentions, its declarations, some of them a couple of centuries old, or nearly a couple of centuries old, rescue these children and put a stop. And if Nigeria continues to stand on her sovereignty, I think the protocols, I leave this to the experts, I'm speaking as a layman, what I know. I think the protocols of the United Nations enable that organization to do in Namibia. In other words, to declare sections of this country protectorate under the United Nations. Why not? If the government has failed to protect its own people, the government has failed to fulfill its responsibilities under protocols to which it is signatory, the United Nations has a right and a responsibility to declare those zones United Nations protectorates. What I'm saying publicly is what we've been discussing with some foreign heads of state, because we want this situation tabled. We do not want what we're undergoing now to become the new normal peculiar to the Nigerian nation. We want intervention at this stage. And so I wish to exhort these very meticulous human rights people to also insist on the slavery aspect, emphasize it as additional reason for UN intervention. I think I will stop there and take one or two.
After hearing from Wale Soyinka, you can see that nothing is hidden anymore. Wale Soyinka is now openly calling for a boycott of their government media. A boycott of their government media, because it's obvious the media will never report anything good. If you try to report something good, they will come after you. And that has made them to turn against the masses, to begin to report evil, report negative things, report lies against the people. Wale Soyinka is coming for a massive movement against them. A massive movement against their stupid Asorock and whoever is there and what they are doing. You can see the case he's making. You don't blame him. He's talking for, he's speaking up for Sunday Igboho. He has telling you that Sunday Igboho is peaceful. He has pursued his self-determination in a peaceful way. You don't blame him. He never mentioned issue of Mazi Nnamdi. He's only talking about Sunday Igboho. But I don't blame him, because it is the duty of people in the southern part of Nigeria, in the southeast, to defend Mazi Nnamdi and not the southwest. He is making case for his own brother. But when they were, you see Wale Soyinka making case for Sunday Igboho, but when it was the time they raided the home of Mazi Nnamdi, when IPOB was moving along with only flag, asking for self-determination, IPOB never killed anybody. They never used any arm. They were not holding anything. They were not holding any arm whatsoever. Only flag of Biafra they were holding, asking for self-determination. The government came after them. They went to the home of Mazi Nnamdi and killed 28 people. They wanted to kill Mazi Nnamdi. Chukwu saved him. The governors of Southeast were not speaking for him. No elite in the southeastern part of Nigeria stood for him. It was only Abaribe that was confident enough to speak for Mazi Nnamdi. Only Abaribe. All the politicians, all the elites, instead of standing with Mazi Nnamdi, they stood against him. Today, you can see Wale Soyinka is making a case for Sunday Igboho, demanding for his immediate release, which is the right thing to do. Which is the right thing to do. But in the southeast, we have nobody to speak for us. It is a shame. Very shameful that we cannot be able to condone this.
Win the war. Python that's one, Python that's two. Now Python that's a three. Unapoli Mary Nnamdi win the war. Python that's one, Python that's two. Now Python that's a three. Unapoli Mary Nnamdi. therefore, O Mary, Nizu, Giroya, Abakare, Mamanda Ora, Unaburi Mary Nandi win the war. Python that's one, Python that's two, now Python that's a three. Unaburi Mary Nandi win the war. Python that's one, Python that's two, now Python that's a three. Unaburi Mary Nandi.
May Chukwu Okike continue to bless Mazi Nnamdi Kanu wherever he is. May Chukwu Okike continue to strengthen Mazi Nnamdi Kanu wherever he is. May Chukwu Okike continue to give him good health, give him strength. I believe that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will come out. He will definitely come out. Nobody will stop him. Nobody. He has a high spirit, a strong spirit. And Chukwu Okike gave him the assignment that he has embarked on. He will finish it, carry it to the end, take us into Biafra, and we will rejoice together with him. No man born of a woman can stop us with Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, because he is the anointed man to take us to Biafra, take us to promised land, a land flowing with milk and honey. God gave it to us, and we must go into it whether they like it or not. Thank you so much for watching, and remember blessed. Bye bye. See you again on the next video.